Alrighty, howdy guys. So today we're going to be talking about JOptionPane, and we're going to be talking about incorporating images with Java and VS Code. So we've got our Visual Studio Code up. I've got this file pulled up. I'm just going to be uncommenting things a line at a time and kind of verbally walking y'all through what this is going to look like. We've got our terminal pulled up. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import Java X Swing, JOptionPane, and ImageIcon. Now JOptionPane basically allows us almost like a more aesthetic way of giving information to the user and taking in information from the user. So instead of typing things here in the terminal, we can just put it right into this little window that's going to pop up. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got our class, we've got our main. First thing I wanted to show y'all is how to take in an image. And the way I like to do this is by setting up, an image icon. We can call this whatever we want. We could call it image1, we could also call it img, we could call it banana, but for the purposes of today, let's just call it image1. And then we're going to actually reference a JPEG that I already have stored in this file called charlotte.jpg, and you're literally just going to put the name of the file here. So you might have an E here, it might be a .gif or a .png, you can just check that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use JOptionPane.showMessageDialog. And what I like to do for stuff that I am not super sure where I should be putting these little guys right here, if you hover over this blue part, it'll show you. So you can see that .showMessageDialog is going to take a parent component, an object message, a string for the title, and a message type, and then an icon image. So we don't need a parent component, we're just going to set that to null. I just called our message and our title. Our message type is just going to be 0. We're not doing anything with that. And then our icon right here is going to be image1, the one that we had initially set up at the beginning. So if we just save that really quickly, we're going to compile and we're going to run it. And this is pretty cool, you'll see in a second. So we have our message here, that could be whatever we like. We have a title, and then this is Charlotte. This is our animated character that's going to pop up. And there's usually going to be a green button down here that says OK. And if we press OK, it's just going to go away. So we can do whatever we want. We could do display character, and we could say, hi, my name is Charlotte. And if we save that, compile, and run, we can see that it says display character up here, and then she's giving us a little message, which is pretty interesting. Now we can take in multiple images at a time. So let's call this one image 2. We're going to take in a character named Daisy, and then we're going to take in an NPC, a non-playing character, for those of y'all that play video games. And if we want to display the GIF, we can just do another one. Now something that's important to note is that these two right here are not going to show up at the same time. They're going to show up one after another. So if I save, compile, and run, you can see that we get Charlotte, and then we get our little NPC GIF, but it's going to show up after we close out of Charlotte. So we can do the X or the OK, but I'll just do the OK for now. Now another thing we can do here is we can take in input from the user, and instead of doing show message dialog on JOptionPane, what you're going to use is JOptionPane.showInputDialog. And you can kind of think of this as message dialog is giving a message to the user, input dialog is taking one in. So whatever input we take in, we're going to want to do something with it. We're going to want to assign it to to like a string or an integer. If you are assigning it to an integer, it's important that you like take it in as a string, check to make sure that there are no non-numeric values, and then convert it to an integer. But here we're just going to be taking in names. So we can do, I'm just going to show you guys what this looks like real quick. So we have Charlotte shows up, our little NPC guy shows up, and then this is what happens when you do input dialogues. You can type whatever you want in here, but I'm just gonna type my name and then press OK. And now it's saved in name, but we haven't done anything with the variable name. Now, one thing that I think is really awesome to do with images is to display them conditionally, so using if statements. So if I uncomment this right here, we can use this check, which I think we've used in previous videos, name.equals, and we have name.equals again here, and then we can kind of, let's comment this out up here. So instead of just showing Charlotte and then our NPC regardless, we're only going to show them if the user enters their name to be Charlotte or to be Daisy, who we haven't seen yet. And then if we don't get either of those, we're going to do an else statement saying, oh, you're an NPC. And notice that we have an if, else, else. So this else if will evaluate if the first statement is false, and then the else will evaluate if both of these are false. So that's just important to keep track of, because you're not going to have a character be Charlotte and also be Daisy. So one thing to keep in mind that we did in a previous video is that if we're checking to see if our name is Charlotte or Daisy, well, they might spell it with a capital C or a lowercase c. So we're just going to standardize that by making the name lowercase. Now if I save this, and we're going to compile, and we're going to run, this is what it's going to do for us. So I could enter Sabrina, that's my name. I'm going to press OK, and I get an NPC because my name's not like hard-coded into the file. So we're going to press OK, and it goes away. Now we could also, press Control-C, we could run it again, and we could say, oh, my name is Charlotte. And then we're going to get Charlotte as our character assignment. And by the way, if you ever have like something that's running and you don't want it to be in the terminal, you can always press Control-C, just FYI. So now let's check out Daisy. So I'm going to make my name Daisy, and notice that I'm using a capital D here, but because we're making it lowercase, that's A-OK. So let's press enter, and then that's my character assignment. I get Daisy. So yeah, this was just a brief overview of how to use conditional statements and image icons in JOptionPane. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.